No one deserves the role of Izuku Midoriya in the live-action Netflix My Hero more than Tom Holland. And the main reason I believe this is because of the many intricate narrative connections there are between the character of Deku and the character of Peter Parker. I feel like every My Hero fan can acknowledge and at the very least pay attention to the fact that Deku is strongly based upon the story of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And not even just through the usage of his black whip or the fact that some of his power set is literally copy-pasted from Spider-Man comics, because it wasn't even just black whip. There was also danger sense, which is essentially supposed to act as Deku's variation of spider senses, but also down to the themes of the characters themselves and the personality traits that form them into who they are. I mean, both Deku and Peter are incredibly intelligent, genius type individuals who have done a massive amount of research around their preferred field. And while Deku might not be responsible for inventing some of his own gadgets and tech the way Peter Parker did his web shooters, he is responsible for creating his own techniques and finding a unique and very intelligent way to utilize the multiple quirks within One for All in order to make himself incredibly more overpowered than any of his predecessors. But ultimately, I feel like one of the main things that allows Deku and Spider-Man to relate so much is their ability to sacrifice. And this is something that it looks like will be covered a lot in the new movie Spider-Man Brand New Day as well. But if you're a Spider-Man fan, you're already aware of the fact that he is constantly sacrificing himself in the name of the greater good. And honestly, I would even go as far as to say that the whole meaning of Peter Parker's character is that anyone can be a hero, because the only thing that you really need in order to successfully be considered a hero is self-sacrifice and the ability to have the bravery to do things that others simply refuse to. And Peter Parker has sacrificed everything from his love interest to his family and friends to even his own name, because after the events of No Way Home, Peter Parker allowed magic to be used that would make everyone in the universe forget who he was just to keep everybody safe from a mistake that he made. And in spite of all that isolation and loneliness that had to come along with that decision, especially because it caused him to lose the love of his life and the person he was probably most connected to through Ned and MJ, it definitely goes to show you that there is nobody who is more self-sacrificing in fiction other than characters like Peter Parker. And the same can be said for Deku, just in a different way. Because while Deku did defeat All For One alongside all of his classmates and ultimately had all their assistance with him achieving this series-long goal, he did it at the cost of One For All, which was Deku's only opportunity to fulfill and live out his dream of being the world's greatest hero and actually being able to become a hero someday, despite the fact that he was born without any power. And one of the things I find most emotional about this sacrifice is that it goes to show that Deku never wanted to have a quirk just so he could be flashy or just so he could be worshipped and considered the #1 hero, but he wanted a quirk because he genuinely had something intrinsic to himself, a heroic nature. And this is what All Might saw in Deku in the first place that caused him to pass One For All onto him. The fact that before anyone could even think, Deku's body automatically would start moving to help anyone who was in need, and that was a quality that All Might stated could only be found in a true hero. And this all makes it very obvious to me that there would be nobody better to portray the role of the Japanese Spider-Man than Spider-Man himself, and Tom Holland definitely is the face that we should see attached to that in that sense. And I know that there might be some that disagree with that just because he's a giant name and he's already basically in everything else. I mean, he's even in the Odyssey that just released recently. Ultimately, I feel like that is all the more reason to give him the opportunity to take this other variation of the same character and prove just how integral he is to the Spider-Man concept and role, regardless of how it's manifesting. Another reason is because I believe he has the acrobatic experience that would be necessary to film some scenes with Midoriya later on in his story after he gained some mastery of One For All through the existence of full cowling. But Tom Holland is without a doubt my dream cast for Deku, and I don't think there's any other actor that could do that role as much justice.